Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Dummies podcast. I am Vinny Zampatella, and we are here with a Wildcard Day 1 recap. We're just going to kind of go through here, break down to the Day 1 games. That would be the New England Patriots and Tennessee Titans, and the Houston Texans and Buffalo Bills. Two actually really entertaining games. The Buffalo one, I don't know if maybe for the right reasons. But definitely two games that were very entertaining in their own way. So we'll go through both games, kind of just things that I found key, and just highlights of the game and crucial moments of the game. But we'll start it up with the Houston and Buffalo game, since that was the first game. Kind of crazy. Buffalo jumped out to a 16-0 start. Didn't really think that Houston was going to be able to get the firepower, even though I did call Houston to win this game. I didn't think they were going to be able to get the firepower to battle back in this one and get the win. And then they come in halftime with 19 unanswered points. And now all of a sudden it's 19-16, and Buffalo doesn't look like they have an answer to stop Houston. And Buffalo's supposed to be... well, no, they are. They're a very well-built defensive team. Their defense is what's supposed to be the thing that's going to get them through playoff games, and they couldn't get the stop. They started to get more stops, and then Buffalo has the ball. This is late in the game with a chance to either kick the field goal to tie it earlier on than the inevitable one, but they elected to go for it and give the ball to Houston midfield, which I don't understand why in that point you don't try to kick the field goal or even punt to not give Houston the ball at midfield. Go play defense. You had 3 timeouts still, time to stop the clock and get the ball back. But regardless, they didn't do either or. They decided to go for it. They didn't get it. I think Allen got sacked. And they gave Houston the ball around midfield, and Houston moved the ball. I don't understand why Houston did not, on the 4th and 1 punt or go to kick the field goal to ice the game. I don't have my notes, but if I'm not mistaken, they were in very manageable 4th down or field goal range to attempt a field goal. And then even you attempt a field goal, you miss it, you're still up 3. You make the field goal, you essentially ice the game. No, they go for it. Give the ball back to Buffalo with enough time to go down on Buffalo kicks a game-tying field goal. And then both teams' possessions in I think multiple possessions in overtime, and eventually led to a Houston field goal, and Houston wins the game. This is my notable takeaways from the game. J.J. Watt is definitely the X factor, as I said on the consensus Friday night. J.J. Watt would be the big X factor. And then the same thing with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is an X factor, but he was the X factor we knew going into the game. Watt made the huge difference. He was really what rallied that Houston defense to get the key stops that they had. And the notable takeaway for Buffalo would definitely be that Josh Allen is definitely a great quarterback of the future. I was very impressed by his performance. It did look, as you got late into the third, fourth quarter, overtime, the pressure definitely got the young quarterback. He definitely, in my opinion, he looked like he was scared to death. His face was pale. He just looked really overwhelmed and really flustered. You expect that. He's a second-year quarterback in the playoffs versus a good team playing away without crazy star power on offense, but he did definitely perform well, and I'm definitely excited to see where his career's going. He's definitely a strong quarterback of the future. Other than that, man, I thought it was a really exciting game. There was a lot of, in my opinion, coaching blunders, a lot of decisions that I didn't understand, but made the game exciting. And now we're going to jump into this Patriots-Titans game. You didn't have as many you had no real coaching blunders. None that I could think of off the top of my head, none that I have in my notes. There might be one or two as I'm diving into it and trying to think, but in my notes and off the top of my head, there's none that come to mind immediately. It was just a really good back and forth game the first half. 14-13, Tom Brady throws a ball, and there was a pick six he throws right at before we go to half. But Tennessee's defensive back, forgive me, don't have it in my notes who it was exactly, drops the interception, probably looking downfield at the open space to take it to the house before he caught the ball, which would have definitely probably wrote a story for a different half. But we went into half 14-13. Tennessee gets the ball at a half. I really don't have too much. It just was a really, really low scoring game because it stayed 14. It stayed 14-13 for the rest of the game essentially. New England makes a huge play on third down with 8 minutes left. The bomb that Brady throws, they have now an eligible man downfield that stunted a drive. Tannehill drops a snap with 5 minutes left where they're running the ball and they're getting ready to ice out the clock and win this thing 14-13. And now you're sitting here getting ready to punt the ball, and Mike Vrabel, somebody who I called again on the consensus, the X factor of this game, the man just showed his wits and uses Belichick's clock management tools against Bill Belichick. With just over 5 minutes left, they punt the ball inside the 11 with about 4:45 left. New England has the ball. Special teams from both teams performed very, very well. Just proves for you to make plays this late in the year, or to win games this late in the year. Special teams, to get here this late in the year, your special teams have to be, all three phases of the game need to be where they're at, and it just shows. I mean, sitting here looking at my notes, there's so many big special teams plays in these last couple minutes by the Titans, and that's what made the difference. They came up big, stopped, forced New England to punt. With 3 minutes left, Tennessee had the ball. Derrick Henry, man, I didn't get a chance to get his numbers in my notes. This was wrote my notes down as I was watching the game and after the game, and never got a chance from then till now, to get his stats. But I know they were unbelievable numbers. He just pounded the crap out of the ball. I mean, he was getting at least 5 to 8 yards a carry at will. Very few times did New England stop him, and if they did, he was still getting 1 to 2. It just blew my mind. But New England had the quick 3-and-out with 15 seconds left. They punted and pinned Brady inside or on the 1. Then Brady throws the pick six. 20-13 was the final. Notable takeaways, in my opinion, from that game. I'd have to say that Derrick Henry's an animal. Ryan Tannehill made the plays when needed. That's something that I said was going to be a huge factor in this game and was going to be very, very crucial for the Titans. That Ryan Tannehill was going to have to make the big plays when called upon. He made a couple bad ones. He dropped a snap, like I mentioned. Excuse me. He threw a very, very bad timing pick coming out of half, I believe. So he definitely made some mistakes, and New England's usually a team you can't do that against, but they bounced back. Going forward, man, I personally, I don't know. They believe now they play Baltimore. I don't think they can beat Baltimore. Before watching this game, I just said Baltimore runs away with it. Baltimore wins still next week, but Derrick Henry is a difference maker. He can keep the other team off the field, and that's going to be huge when you play Baltimore. You're going to want to have an offense that can neither score at will or keep the ball out of Lamar's hands. And Derrick Henry can definitely keep the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands, where maybe he makes one or two mistakes with youth, and who knows what happens. But I definitely still think Baltimore wins the game. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people are going to say. Another notable takeaway, obviously, the Tom Brady speculation can begin. Do we think he's going to come back? Do we think he's going to go elsewhere? Is he going to... Well, he said he doesn't have intentions of retiring. New England should not re-sign him. It's just not worth the money. It's not worth it. He's a declining quarterback. Depending on what he wants, maybe. I don't know. I think this time you turn to the draft and look to the draft and rebuild. There was clear signs that the team's just not what it was. Brady's not who he is and who he was. Or who he is not who he was. Age is finally setting in on him, which it makes sense. I think you go draft a quarterback. If you do re-sign him, it's to not a lot of money, to a very short-term deal, maybe 1 to 2 years just to bring in your next quarterback. But Brady's got to want to do it. I don't know if Brady's going to want to be the bridge quarterback. I think he's going to want to go win another one before he's done, which is a very fair desire to have at the point of his career. He wants to win one more ring on the way out. If he goes anywhere, I think it's probably the Colts. They're the most established young team with everything, but they're going to be in the hunt for a quarterback. They can sign Brady to that 1 to 2 year deal, probably 2 years, I would think. And then draft a quarterback this year. Then draft not as high, maybe not as like a top first round pick. Not the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft. But you can draft a quarterback still and have him sit under Brady for a year or two while Brady goes and tries to win you a Super Bowl. I think that makes sense to me. The other team I know was talked about is the Chargers. The issue I have with them is, they're very young and very well built too. I just think they're a little bit further away from a Super Bowl, where the Colts this was their year if they had Andrew Luck and they didn't, and that's why I think he goes to the Colts. But we'll have to just wait and see on that. We have plenty more playoff football to look forward to today and the next couple weeks. Today's games, as I know I've posted, and I will just say them here. I have 27-10 Saints over the Vikings. I have 20-13 Eagles over the Seahawks. Very excited for these games. These first 2 games did not disappoint. I'm hoping that day 2 is just as good as day 1 was. Hopefully, we're just going to have to wait and see. You guys will be hearing from me again tomorrow. I'm going to recap day 2. Just hope for another good day of football, guys. Thanks for listening, and hear from you soon.